unless I do cardio, but it's a different story.
Yeah, I really feel like you deserve, and you will get, I'm sure, much more recognition with time as the longer you stay on YouTube posting.
Yeah, at one point. I mean, I don't really care about the.
Well, I know you don't care, but I want people to realize, and we have a slightly different viewer pool, so hopefully the people listen to this that.
Yeah, we'll get cross contamination, right?
There's a lot of cross contamination even before the first video. But the point is, like, there's literally nobody in the bodybuilding coaches that it looks at this so rigorously and seriously. Especially, I mean, I the more I learn about your methods, the more impressed I get. And to be honest, the funny thing is, Greg Doucette actually sort of made his reputation on YouTube by sort of health conscious. Like, he tell you don't use SARMs. But none of his stuff actually, although I like him now, I watch more of his videos. I saw he wasn't screaming before, and he's tolerable, the old videos.
Yeah, the old ones are good.
Yeah, exactly. But his actually, the way he thinks is not very it's not very scientifically grounded, and a lot of it is just sort of
but most guys are not very scientific, and I understand, because in the end, as a coach, you just need to work, or you just need to know how the body is going to respond.
Yeah, true.
And honestly, you don't need to know how it works. You just need to know how the body is going to respond. And if you know how the body responds, like Chris Aceto, for example, if you ask him how the hormones work that he recommends, or the diet works, he doesn't know. But he knows how the body responds, and he knows it in a million different scenarios, and that's why he's the best.
No, he's excellent, but Chris Aceto doesn't have a reputation for being health conscious, which is what Greg came across as being.
Right. Yeah.
Health conscious. So. I call his diet the cancer cookbook. This cookbook that he's selling. I call it the cancer cookbook because
Is that bad?
I never seen in my whole life that much processed food in a diet. I've never seen.
Oh, really?
It's unbelievable.
I did read it.
Unbelievable. You can't read it. You have to pay $100. But if it's there are videos on it, and it's no. I'm not bashing. I like Greg Doucette. I like to watch his videos, and he's very successful, and I respect him. But anyway, my point is, it's not truly a healthy lifestyle. Whereas the things you do are actually really health preserving.
Well, what I think with Greg is because he understands his audience. That's why he, went to a different kind of content. And I noticed that with a lot of, like, my audience is growing a lot in the States right now. So I get a lot of more American clients. And I see when I ask them, it's like, give me a food log, when they sign up for coaching. And it's a lot of processed stuff.
Yeah.
Every time. And I think the Americans, they love the processed stuff, and it's the majority of YouTube. When I think most people, when they look at your audience base, it's mostly American. So, I guess he just wants to play into the audience and make it easy for everybody, because I have to get everybody off the processed food, no stevia, no this, no that, no cereal, take it all out. And then a month later, like, Dan, I can't believe that I'm eating 4,000 calories without bloating. Yeah, well, now you're eating real food, buddy.
Well, the one thing we know about health that's definitely not controversial is processed food is bad for you. There is no question about that. That's not debatable. So
if it doesn't expire within a week, it's shit, And if oatmeal and rice, but if you reconstitute it, if you cook it, then it goes off within a day, So it's not, I don't touch it. I mean, if you want to have a donut in the weekend, okay, that's fine. It's one meal out of 35 or.
But it can't be the main thing, and you can't be eating some processed food instead of your rice or whatever you're eating.
No, it's in my opinion, no, not at all.
Did you see the interview on Valuetainment with Chad Nicholls?
Yeah, that one I watched completely. It was very interesting.
I find Chad fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's weird. Like, some of these coaches, Chad worked out, right? And he used to be pretty big at one point, but I've never seen a picture of him.
Oh, I saw a picture of him when he was.
Oh, yeah. How did he look? Because I've seen pictures of Chris Aceto, and he looked pretty good. He looked very nice as a classic physique guy,
Dad was like 300 pounds fat. That's how he
he was pretty huge, but I've never seen pictures without a shirt.
No. He was fat. He was clearly fat.
Oh, okay.
With the clothing on, yeah.
Right. So, and so I always wondered, how a coach like that gets the information how to get nasty peeled when he's never been nasty peeled.
It's very, that's what I don't know anything about that. I don't even know how people get dry because I was in powerlifting and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've been there before, but so I know how to incorporate that with my clients, and you learn more as you go. Right. But it's, some of his methods are interesting, but some of Chris Aceto's methods are interesting too. And everybody, and my methods would be interesting as well, So everybody's got their own protocols that they figured out which work well for their clients, and they might be, controversial considered for antibodies. I mean, the rumor that Chad gave drinks with, special diuretics in there during the diuretic testing. I mean, I've heard about that for years. Where he just comes to your room and he said, "Drink this."
Yeah. What I was fascinated by was in the interview was particularly. Actually, I thought to interview Chad, but he doesn't reply to emails. So
no, he doesn't. Some of these guys, they don't do interviews. Dante Trudell and Chad Nicholls and all these guys, they don't want to.
No. Chad has been on Nick Trigili's show for 10 times.
Oh, really? Yeah, really? Okay. Yeah, maybe because they work together.
Yeah, but what basically I wanted to, but I saw the interview, so I learned a little bit more. I was surprised because Chad's main call to fame is that he was a drug guy. He knows about all the drugs very well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when the Patrick Bet-David was showing him the drugs, it seemed like he didn't really understand much about them.
I was downplaying it. I mean, it's still a curse in bodybuilding where they just act stupid or pretend they don't know or that it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's
you lie for 10 years. I'm not saying that Chad is a liar, but I've seen it so much because of the stigma that's attached to bodybuilding and the legality issues and trying to keep it underground and in a closed circle. There's so much BS out there.
Yeah.
So much BS out there, and it's hard to sift through, and then you need a little bit more experience and a little bit of knowledge before you can see what is real and what is not. So. Chad I was downplaying everything. Oh, that's the long acting. Yeah, I think it's long acting. It's like he doesn't know, but
okay.
He knows. He knows, but he's just pretending like he doesn't know, so he doesn't look like a drug guy because they all call themselves nutritionists, right?
Yeah.
I think the only guy that's actually a nutritionist is Chris Aceto, and all the other coaches are drug guys.
True, yeah. Hey, so following up from Chad, actually, did you see the Joe Rogan interview with Ronnie Coleman?
Yeah.
He mentioned as a nutritionist a couple of times, but then he mentioned him once. So what did you think about that? There's been a whole YouTube discussion, and I know both you and I are not people to make videos about this kind of thing, but I'm just curious, the 0.3 and the negative body fat and all this kind of stuff, did you have a reaction to it or no?
No, not really. I think, Ronnie Coleman had a coach his entire life, right? And before Chad, he was working with somebody else, I'm not sure who. So they do all the thinking for him.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, it puts your mind at ease. You just put in the work and you get the results, right? Especially a guy like Ronnie Coleman who worked his ass off to the point of breaking. He doesn't need to know about his body fat levels. And then you interview the guy and he said, yeah, it's minus 3%. Okay, because he doesn't know. Don't blame him for it. Don't fault the guy.
Exactly. That's what I found out.
There's plenty of stuff I don't know either, and it might start, you go through all the videos and I said something stupid or I misspoke, and okay. So we're not all experts.
I
know a lot, but we don't know everything.
I constantly say the wrong word in a video, and then I look at it, I say, wait a minute, I was trying to say the opposite of what I said.
And I have to put the subtitles in again. I'm like,
exactly.
It looks very unprofessional, but sometimes you misspeak. Yeah. And like when we're talking right now, like the difference is when we're talking right now, it's way easier to communicate compared to when you're sitting there talking into the camera.
Exactly.
Because I get a little bit nervous sometimes when you're talking, or you talk too fast, or within your mouth, or and then halfway through the sentence you realize that you misspoke, and you're like, did I just misspoke or not? And then you look back and you look at your confused face. I'm like, oh God, can I put this on YouTube? Okay. Sometimes you cut it out, and sometimes I just put the subtitles. I'm like, okay, I hope the audience will forgive me. And it's the same with, imagine being on Joe Rogan when the potential audience is 10 million people.
Yeah. Well,
I would be nervous. I misspeak also,
My impression was this, to be honest, I first of all, I wasn't surprised at all. Nobody has ever thought of it. First of all, we know in bodybuilding that the top athletes are the most genetically gifted athletes that went the right path, right? It doesn't mean that you don't go get coached by Ronnie Coleman. You don't go get coached by Phil Heath. You go get coached by people who...
Chad.
By Chad,
or not a coach. Yeah.
Somebody who maybe never had a body like that, but he's someone who was, and in fact, sometimes it's easier to be a coach if you had genetic challenges, because you had to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are the best coaches. I mean, in the guys that don't have the genetic background, they had to suffer and grind and figure everything out, and then they can help the guys with a little bit more genetics, and they can get away with less, and everything is working from the beginning. So they just make progress upon progress without stalling, until they stall at 300 pounds. So those make for the best coaches, and the best coaches are not pros. The only guy that turned pro was John Meadows, and good for him. But he was also not genetically blessed, and the only real takeaway from John Meadows is his paper thin, freaky skin, and having a nice balanced body. But he wasn't handed any free genetic cards, that's for sure. Well, the other good coaches, they don't have a pro card, neither do I. I never competed even.
Yeah, true.
Shame on me.
But another point is that I was just appalled by the lack of respect shown to Ronnie Coleman when people were making fun of him or saying he's ridiculous for thinking this percent. Listen, this guy is I'm not a bodybuilder, but I respect the sport of bodybuilding. So this guy is a person who can't walk because of what he did.
Yeah, he gave his freaking body for bodybuilding, man, and for everybody to have a inspiration from the millions of videos. I mean, when I saw those videos from him, it's you go to you just finish legs and you watch Ronnie Coleman's leg video and you want to go back to the gym.